Hi guys, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and I just thought I would make a video about Uranus moving into Taurus and just what that means. So I feel like I need to discuss a little bit about what Uranus energy is, and then I need to discuss a little bit about what Taurus energy is, and then we're going to combine them. We're going to talk about the high vibration and the low vibration. So on May 15th, 2018, when we're going to have a new moon and Mars moves into Aquarius, we're going to have Uranus move into Taurus. So what a big day. I think it's the biggest day in May, but I think it's the biggest energy. I feel like the energy that you're going to feel if you're super sensitive to energy is just really monumental, because you're going to feel all of your senses heightened on that day. And so it's going to feel like your spidey senses are going off, essentially. This transit is going to stick around for a while, and it could stick around. It's going to stick around for about 8 years. So it's going to end on April 26, 2026. So it's a long time. Outer planet work takes a long time to evolve, the energy to evolve, because there is so much involved with outer planet energy. Uranus energy is about the collective consciousness, right? It's about us as a collective feeling how powerful and at the mercy of energy that we truly deeply are, and it humbles our human experience. It awakens us. What it reveals can be quite shocking, and at times it can feel chaotic, right? And it can feel like you need to get control over a very specific area of your life when Uranus moves into a particular energy, which is at this point Taurus. So let's talk a little bit about what Uranus rules. It rules your innovative thinking, your unique mindsets, your higher mind, your analytical mind, right? The elevated, cumulative elevated experience of lower mind thinking. So our lower mind, it rules kind of like our day-to-day tasks and our day-to-day decision making. And Uranus thinking it rules the areas in our lives where we have some big revelation, and we become we become extremely aware of a certain area in our lives, right? And there's no going back when you feel a Uranian experience in any energy. Like it removes the veil of innocence from that, and it throws you into the adulthood type mindset where you just mature very quickly. And sometimes, depending on how much you have been working in this area, it can feel quite jolting. It can feel sudden. But what I want you to understand is that collectively, everybody will be feeling the same energy. So that's what brings that chaotic feeling, and that feeling of just, wow, what the hell is going on? Because it seems like everybody's just going crazy. They're losing it. And it's not that they're going crazy or that they're losing it. What it is that they're they're being influenced by it. And so it can feel like you have a loss of control, and you want to get control of this area in your life. And that's what the awareness and awakening process is all about in this particular area. It is innovative. It rules innovative thinking. So you're going to come up with a lot of great ideas in whatever energy is ruled by Uranus. I mean, is being aspected by Uranus at that time. So understand there's quite a few things that fall under Taurus energy, and I'm going to go into those. Now, friendships and lovers are going to be highly impacted during this time, or any of our collaborating efforts that we do with people. The internet, especially any of our social media, is always influenced by any Uranian experience, any change in energy, because Uranus rules the internet and it rules the future. So things just change forever in that particular sign. I feel like I need that. I did a lot of research, by the way, guys, so I hope you enjoy this, because like a lot of research. It took me about 2 weeks to kind of, for one thing, I needed to like just make sense out of what I was feeling, because again, Taurus rules your 5 senses, and so my spidey senses have been tingling off the charts, and so I really just try to get as close to what, like, I want to disassociate myself from these readings as much as I can and not make them about me and what the energy is doing in my life. I want to make it more about you guys on a cumulative level. I feel like this is where inspiration comes from, especially in the technology fields. So I'll go into that because it got very fascinating when I was doing a lot of research. I also feel this is an area where you need to break free and have some freedom to think outside of the box. This is what rules outside of the box thinking. So if we've become stagnant in an area in our lives, when Uranus hits that area or aspects that area, especially if it's in a personal planet, it can be like quite jarring. Now, Taurus energy, let's talk a little bit about that. Taurus energy rules our 5 senses. I think it's a highly intuitive sign. I do think because they're so in tune with every one of their senses that they are very energetically connected to changes or fluctuations in energy, more so than most. It obviously rules our possessions, what we value, what we want to attain on a material level. So on this, we're enjoying our human experience on this earth. We want to do it in a pleasurable way, right? There's only 2 instincts that we truly deeply have if you just really make everything as basic as possible, and that is to move toward pleasure and away from pain. And so Taurus rules pleasure, right? So we're obviously going to, oh, I don't know if you can see that. Sorry. I try to give you guys like nature at its finest. So anything you wish to consume. Now this could be on a materialistic level. This could be like anything you wish to shop and attain, anything you want to buy, anything you hope to, you're striving for, like cars, jewelry, clothing, just anything that adds pleasure to the human experience. So this is, it rules luxury. It rules the way that we express admiration through material possessions. It rules beauty, and it rules how we beautify ourselves to become more attractive to whomever we're trying to attain. So it kind of rules that area. It does rule how we materialize money in our lives, and how we materialize just a wealthy mindset, and it rules what we value. So that's a big area, right? That's a huge area, and Uranus is going to go into that area and shake it all up. So Earth energy is a very hesitant energy. It takes a long time to make decisions, and it doesn't like sudden shifts in energy where they haven't truly deeply thought it all through, and they really dissect it and before they make changes normally. It's a very Taurus energy is fixed, so once they get fixated on something, it is very hard to detour them. Like, it's really hard to make them see a different point of view or see a different concept or do things a different way. And so with Uranus in there, I feel like Tauruses are going to go through this like crazy experience where energy is going to be shifting and changing and adapting, and they are going to feel quite, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to feel very uneasy, because the way that they like everything done is like with stability, and it's going to be very hard for them to experience the way that they like to make changes is very slow. It kind of reminds me of sloth energy. In fact, actually, Taurus rules laziness. It rules gluttony. It rules a lot of really negative attribute things in us. And so I always think of the sloth, how just slow and precise their movements are. They take a long time to make decisions, and so when they make a decision, it's successful because they've really anticipated just about everything that they've really sought out all of their resources. If they wanted to attain something, they probably found the best deal, the most frugal way to attain something. Like, they're very good at what they do. For the average person, at the speed at which a Taurus goes, it can be quite, unless you're an earth energy, it can be very nerve-wracking because you want them to make decisions right now and they're just simply not capable. It's not who they are. I feel like they spend a great deal of time trying to attract attention, and they do that by becoming quite appealing. Being appealing is very important to them. Being appealing to those they wish to get attention from is is their focus, excuse me. And so it can be very hard. What may be unexpected is they wish to attain something and it just may be elusive. They may never ever get what they want. And even though they've thought it through and what's always worked for them, it's not going to work when you combine Uranus and Taurus. And so they're going to have to come up with new and innovative ways to attain these things, to make these things happen for them. And that is very frustrating, and it can be quite discouraging for somebody who is really stuck or stubborn in a specific way they want to do things. Very, very fixed. Very, very hard to get out of that mindset. Sometimes, sorry, it's kind of windy out. I'll try to, sorry about that. So what's really difficult about this energy that I think that I've noticed is that it's going to be very hard for these two energies to come together because they're so polar opposite. I mean, Uranus energy and Taurus energy are not going to, it's not a cohesive energy. It's not, they don't work well together. They're both equally stubborn. So like, I mean, when Uranus fixates on something and Taurus fixates on something, I believe that they can achieve anything. So that's the best thing that's going to come out of this energy. Some of the worst things that can come out of this energy, however, is just their flat, absolute, stubborn fixation on a certain outcome. I mean, at this point, if you're going to get the most out of this experience, you're going to have to be somewhat flexible, because Uranus can throw a kink in things that is really unexpected or even bizarre. Like how you wouldn't have ever anticipated that coming into the experience of the combination of those two energies. So I want to talk to you a little bit about something that I noticed. Sorry, I was like moving my papers. Something that I noticed and I've been feeling a great deal, and I want to talk to you about it because Taurus energy rules your five senses. So it rules what you see, hear, touch, taste, or feel. And all of those equal your intuition. They all activate your intuition. So that's why I think that they're a very, very intuitive sign. And, but right now, our basic instincts are raging. And that is because we have been activated by our Aries basic instincts of just that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn type mentality of like, we either got to fight for what we want right now to get the recognition we get the job we want, get the salary we want, get the status that we want, or, you know, we have to basically run away from that expectation. Some of us are still hoping that somebody is going to save us from our situation. And so there's some resistance in the fact that we just need to take some personal responsibility for our particular and unique set of circumstances in our lives right now. And some of us are going to have a very hard time adapting to the fact that, you know, that people have been critical of us and how we appear or how we are perceived. And to become, we're in a vulnerable state, especially in our identity, especially when we're talking about the fact that some of us have had our weaknesses criticized to such a degree that we are having a hard time relating to our strengths right now. We are having a hard time perceiving us as a strong person because our weaknesses seem to be outweighing our strengths. I think a lot of what is going on is the fact that anxiety and fear are very dominant. We still got Jupiter in Scorpio. And what is the opposite sign of Scorpio? Taurus. And Jupiter in Scorpio is in retrograde, guys. So that is a really big deal. That is, we're working in our most vulnerable state in the lower vibrations. We're having to fight those a lot more. Now, the great thing about it is if we're in fight mode, we are fixating on an outcome, and that's like our life raft. Like somebody threw in a life raft into the water and we're holding on to it and we're fixating on, you know, like making it through. And some of us are giving up because that's that whole Scorpio feeling. And anxiety levels and fluctuations in moods and energy, like your the way that you are feeling energy right now can feel quite jarring, because it's like, holy crap, like it's too much to go through what you're going through. I just want you guys to know that it's a great time to find a way to focus your intuition and ground your energy. I feel like that's what you guys really need to start doing. There's a lot of great positive ways to do that, where you can use your very heightened intuition to your advantage, because your spidey senses are going off telling you whenever there is danger or anything afloat. So that's actually super handy. So it may be a good time to put yourself on a budget and help you with feeling more secure about your situation if you are making really active changes to really move past some of the pitfalls and some of the harsh criticism that you've received from others who are perceiving you improperly. I feel like becoming frugal is going to be what you should be striving for. So you can, you know, have a feeling of want or need right now and to attain things, but be as frugal as possible, because that's the best way to really hone in on Uranus and Taurus energy, is just very unique ways to attain what you want, and spend as little as possible. Taurus energy rocks at that. I mean, anytime I want to know where a deal is, or anytime I want something, I have a Taurus friend and that girl can find me the best deal in that, or some sort of, she knows something on the internet, or she's got some cute little place downtown or something. She's always got an idea, and so I always go to her as a good resource. I think it's a great time to create routines and goals that calm your mind, body, and spirit. You gotta calm down. You gotta find a way to get your senses under control, and these flight and fight responses, your basic instincts under control, because right now it's making your anxiety and your depression, and your moods very hard to contain and to direct in a positive direction. I think you need to find positive ways to control your urges for immediate satisfaction. So I feel like it can be very difficult right now to find pleasure. The word is pleasure. You want to feel better. You want to feel better right now. You don't want this to go on any longer. You've been hurting long enough. And so it can be quite enticing to go shopping and make yourself feel better, or to eat something to make yourself feel better, or to find a way to like do things in a quick way to somehow find some satisfaction. All of that's short-lived, and that's not good enough for Taurus. Taurus is not a short-lived energy. If you're going to utilize this energy properly, whether it's Chiron in Aries, whether it's Jupiter in Scorpio, whether it's Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, you were looking at long-range goals, long-term outcomes that promise some sort of stability, longevity, and will help you attain what you want. And perceptions are very important right now. So you're gonna want to do it in a way that gets you the most recognition. So let's say if people were criticizing you and they have a particular idea about who you are, you're gonna want to change their perceptions. And so for some of you that could be just like a complete makeover. For some of you that can be you're changing your exterior, your what you look like to match who you are on the inside so that you can be perceived properly. Some of you are trying to find new and unique looks to really start to adapt to this new you. You're going to develop different tastes. What you value right now is all going to change. And all of this is a reflection of what's changed deep inside of you after your Uranian experience in Aries. The perceptions that have changed dramatically since then. The next thing I want to talk about is the low vibration of the general energy. I'm going to do other videos, but just in general, I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So, low vibration. The extremes in people will go, the extremes that you will go to for attention. You're going to have to start being mindful of that. This has to do with being online, social media. Like, are you gonna change your entire body to look like the best version of a particular look? So like, for instance, the Kardashians always come to mind when I think of that, because you know, here are these beautiful, extraordinary women, and they have modified themselves to get the most likes, the most attention on social media. So at what lengths are you going to go to be perceived, sorry, I'm going to wait for this wind to go by, to be perceived as a beautiful, successful, wealthy looking person? Like, how far are you going to take it? And are you going to build a profile that's based on an illusion about yourself, or are you building a real profile about who you really are? I think the extremes that people will go to become appealing is going to be like super crazy. Like, you know, if there's a trend and that trend you don't really identify with the trend, but it's what's accepted, are you going to do what's going to get you the most attention, or are you going to stay authentic to yourself? Like, that's the stuff that you're going to have to deal with, because that's the stuff that was all brought up during the Uranus and Taurus transit. The extremes that you'll go to have a successful appearance, so like, or to appear wealthy, or to appear. And what comes to mind for me is, are you spending more money than you have? So like, You know, is it important for you to appear wealthy so you buy a car you can't afford, or you go shopping and buy expensive clothes that you shouldn't? Even if you're being frugal, do you even need it? Are you spending more money than you are making? You know, you've got to watch your boundaries about how much you're spending versus what you're making, and are you sticking to your budget? Do you even have a budget? Stuff like that. I also think excessive focus on the pursuit of pleasure, and I really wanted to go into that. So that could be food, lust, greed, comparing yourself to others, how you like to feel pampered, how you want to attain the highest quality of life, how you want to appear to have the highest quality of life, like, you know, buying the finest clothes, or eating at the finest restaurants, or going on those beautiful vacations that you really can't afford. And then of course shopping falls into this category. And I really just want you guys to be super mindful of the fact that you have to be very careful that you are not excessive in any of those areas, because we have Uranus and Taurus, right? And so like that is a really big area where we can get a little bit out of control as we are trying to, if people just made you feel bad about yourself and made you feel like you were less than them, the first thing you're going to do is swing to the opposite pendulum and try to prove to them that you're the best thing they lost, right? And so what you can start to do is you can start to like want to revolve your social media around getting attention, like you have this amazing life, where when truly deeply you're suffering on the inside, like on a deeply emotional level, you're not at peace at all. But you want to appear that you are at peace. You want to give the appearance that you are living life to its fullest capacity and they didn't break you type mindset. But if we're really grounded, if we're really truthful with ourselves, we're going to be honest with our situation. We're going to be honest to others about our situation, and we're really going to have some vulnerability right now and let people really know how sensitive we are, or how much we've been through, or the fact that we are starting over, and the fact that we are building what we want to attain. We're building those goals, and we're on the slow course upward. We are not skyrocketing, you know? And some of us is gonna wanna skyrocket because we don't wanna take the time to think about the longevity of our decisions. We just want that instantaneous satisfaction of looking and appearing like we're doing good. Okay, so positive energy to come out of this transit. Oh, I do want to talk before I go about that. Health problems, excessive weight gain, totally probable. Guys, if you are not dealing with your issues about your sensitivities, what can start to happen is you just want to feel better, and there's a huge obesity problem, and it can all be stemmed back to emotional eating. And when we have this much energy, in intense energy, we're going to be possibly looking at weight gain or weight, you know, issues, health issues regarding or linked to our weight. And it's going to be time to start making some radical changes in those areas to get your life healthy. The good thing about Taurus energy, the best thing about Taurus energy is it's always seeking deep down to ground mind, body, and spirit. And it's most, and it needs that to have some peace. So striving is great, and the reason why they are so slow is because they need to do things slowly, because their goals are so big that the expectation is it's very draining all the time to be striving at that constant level of height. So like, this is like the beginning of you climbing a hill. This isn't even, you're not even up the hill. For some of you that are re-identifying your life completely, it is like you're at the bottom of the hill just walking up it. So you're gonna do it slowly and precisely. And you're gonna make sure that you have solid footing each time that you start climbing that ladder. Okay, so positive vibration of this energy is bizarre, new, unique ways to make money and attain success. You guys, this is the time that we can think up brand new ways, innovative ways, where we can maybe use the internet, or we can maybe use a barter system, or we can maybe use some sort of situation where we're not bound to the way that it's always been done to make money, to make ourselves successful, to attain wealth. This is the time to think up those new ideas. It's a time to develop a new way to possibly give your brand like a facelift, to make it appeal to, you know, our current circumstances and your current client base or patient base or customer base. Like, it's a great time to instinctually know what you need to do to get to appeal to the masses, right? It's also a time to come up with an unconventional concept that will revolutionize the beauty or fashion industry. The things that were coming to mind for me were like natural fabrics, eco-friendly products, biodegradable, a product line that is just what really is going, or organic, anything organic. Like, what's really going to appeal to people is considering the earth, because this is an earth-based energy. And so with everything, what could come out of this energy is the revelation of how much we are poisoning our earth, and how much waste isn't biodegradable, and what we're going to do with that, and environmental issues, and issues where we're trying to recycle, and issues where we have some accountability for the way that we have been working in our lives. So I think what's important to understand is that you have to come up with a way that will appeal to the masses, that will be the most motivating, that will make more people want to invest in your unique mindsets. You got to stand out in this energy. So that's what we've been working on, is a way to stand out, way to make our product stand out, our brand stand out, right? So I was thinking of things like perhaps donating a particular portion of all the money that you make toward a great humanitarian effort, or to and get people on board with, hey, if they buy your product, you're also going to be doing something amazing, either for the environment or for charities or for something like that. And that could really make you stand out in a very specific way. I want you to understand that this is a great time to find a bunch of resources, investors, people that, if you collaborate, can help increase your value, how valuable you are in that particular industry or that particular want that you have in your life. Like, it's a great time to find those resources. And you have to understand, if you stand out enough, investors are going to notice you. And if you have a great concept, and if you have a good business plan, and if you really want to just really collaborate with people and find people to help you materialize your ambitious goal, it's a great time for all of that. I mean, I'm not saying that it's perfect, but it's a great time to like really get on board with this Uranian mindset. I was also thinking of, like, you know, what's going to change dramatically is money. The way we view money, the way we value money, the way that money is exchanged. Because the government has made money a brand, right? And it makes us a slave to the government. And so what I think is going to start coming out of this is just very unique ways to come up with money, to be able to trade money. I'm thinking of like cryptocurrencies or like barter systems or anything like that, or internet-based like digital money. I always think of stuff like that when I think of this energy. Like, I really believe we are going to see a dramatic change in the way that we can materialize what we want. It's not going to be so much based on the government's brand of success, right? So that money, that's how the United States of America sees value, is through money. I believe that what may change is what we value entirely, right? How stable we can be on a minimalist mindset. So I always think of the big movement right now with millennials to be minimalists. And what they value most is peace of mind and living simplistically so that they can have a quality of life. So they're not just sitting here a slave to being a consumer, or a slave to their bills, or a slave to the economy. They're coming up with innovative ways to travel and to experience life, because that's what they truly value, is the freedom to make those choices. And they don't want a government, or they don't want a governing body telling them how and when they're going to be, you know, receiving that kind of stability. It's like, no, they're making their own rules. And that's what's really going to come out of this energy, is just they're going to make their own rules in this situation. Anyhow, guys, it's kind of a general, I mean, obviously there's much more to this energy, but I just thought I would put something out so you guys kind of understood what we're getting ourselves into. And I'm going to be talking about what's going to be going on with Uranus and Taurus the rest of the year. I've researched it already. And just some of the biggest aspects that kind of stand the test of time throughout the rest of this year, and what we may feel from this intense energy. Because, you know, like, you've got to always think of polarities when you think of energy, and the opposite of Taurus energy is Scorpio energy, and Jupiter is in there right now in retrograde, expanding the hell out of anything that is going on with your Scorpio experience with this energy right now. So that's like shared resources, that's money, that's debts, that's you know, that's the way that we intimately connect with people. That's the way that we become intimate. That's the way that we look at our lives. And we think, do we want to, are we going to just give up, or are we going to transform our circumstances? You know, are we going to end something? Are we going to work on beginning it? Or some of us are going to be working on letting go of things so that new energy can come into our lives. That's all being expanded at the same time. The energy is completely shifting, and we're having this identity situation going on. So it can feel like you're being stretched in like 20 different directions, and there's no solid, stable way to get through the energy. Anyhow, guys, I just want to say thank you so much, and I will be talking to you again real soon.